once they give their thoughts, and put 2 more people back up to try to get it. I am not a space host that's fond of the mute button. I will use it if I have to, but usually if I have to use the mute button, you're going to get up out of here, permanent dismissal, block, whatever, okay? Because I'm of the mindset that when black people are talking, that okay, if you're coherent, you don't have no type of mental disability, you should be able to respect those rules, okay? Now, with that said, I always know there will be some people that will come and try a Rick James fuck your couch moment. Feel free to pull that, but if you do, it will be the shortest Rick James fuck your couch moment you ever had, because I'm not going to argue with you. One more thing before we get started, and I'll probably say this again as more people come in here. I want to say this. When it comes to discussions like this, you hear a lot of people that say, especially the white supremacists, well, you should get other viewpoints, this, that, and the third. Let me tell you why I don't really value that. An echo chamber. Now, a lot of people think that that's a bad word. It's actually not when you look at how other groups participate. When white supremacists are trying to do something and they're all on one accord, it's an echo chamber. So I posit to anybody that has an issue with that, when it comes to black empowerment that's opposing white supremacy, we damn well better have an echo chamber in how we choose to solve problems and combat threats against us, like threats we're going to be discussing here tonight. So the importance of this subject, all right? Anti-black racism in animated shows. Now, we're going to start off talking about that despicable Good Time show. I only watched like the one episode, couldn't stand no more of it than that. But why it's such a serious subject matter is that's designed to target the kids, not only with the animation, but the particular platform that it was chosen to be hosted on, which is Netflix. And we all know kids love Netflix, okay? So when you target the minds of the future of any particular group, which is its children, you effectively destroy that future. We see that today going on in a lot of the culture that's being promoted with the sexy red Sukihanas, Blueface, and so on and so forth. We're going to be discussing what we should be doing, not only regarding like educating black children on this ignorance not being acceptable, but we're also going to be discussing the black people that participate in this. I get it. I want everybody to have a bag, but we got to start setting up some penalties for these people that will just do anything for money, okay? And what I mean by that, social consequences. Hear me out. When I say social consequences, I mean that black people, we're the trendsetters, okay? Even if people have a majority white audience, they come through the black community. We make everything hot. So for these people that choose to willfully disrespect and participate in things that are a detriment to our people, we have to start setting some type of social consequences, and I suggest ostracizing their asses. See, a lot of people tend to think the average consumer of any given product tend to forget that the consumer actually does have all the power to dictate to those that are marketing the product. If we don't like the product, we have a right to not participate or consume that product. And see, in this particular issue here, when it comes to those that participate in that damn Good Times travesty, okay, degenerate filth, we have to start letting them know, like, okay, if you go and do this and you see we don't respect that, we're going to have to pull all support from anything that they do, even apart from that, and to teach them a lesson. It's high time we did that. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Kid Gravity. You have any thoughts? And one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, when we start bringing you up two at a time on the stage, please mute your mics until it's your turn to speak. Try to keep your comments brief. We want to get as many people as possible as the more people come in here. So with that said, I'm introducing my host, the brother Kid Gravity Beyond. My brother, chime in on this if you will.
I have been introduced. Good evening to everyone. Any day above ground, live it. As a connoisseur of a lot of this content that is going on here, especially from the animated sector, yeah, sometimes you just got to shake your head at the way they portray us. Whether it's dark skin with big red lips, or now every black guy that has twists or dreads that have to have the Killmonger set up, we have to control our own images, because it's clear that these other entities, even including people that look like us, don't know the Black experience, even though they claim to know the Black experience. So tonight, as Brother Great Black Shark said, we're going to analyze this, figure out what we got to do, and also give y'all lessons to teach the next generation, so the next generations do not have to go through this again.
Absolutely, good brother. And see, to expound upon what my brother just said there, I'm glad that he brought that up, because see, when it comes to these particular shows that are designed to denigrate our people, we have to make it clear to Black children that this is psychological warfare. The Queen Mother, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, told us that anytime that it can become normalized that you take in the denigration of your own people and make it acceptable, then you really are a group of people in decline. And you really do the enemy's work for them. Because see, here's my biggest concern with things like Good Times. We're going to be discussing some other shows that maybe some of you might be familiar with, but particularly on Netflix, the Castlevania series and so on and so forth. We're going to be discussing racism and that, going on back to things like Dragon Ball Z. We're going to get into that later. But the thing about it is, if you can condition people to accept their denigration as normalized, then you really have conquered their minds in so many ways. Because see, we got to be clear with this. There's no equivalent of that Good Time show where it's constantly denigrating white people, okay? There is not, especially their kids, because we all know, I got to go ahead and go here, the disgusting scene in that first episode, which is the only one I saw of it, don't really plan to watch no more of it. The drug dealing baby. Oh man, that almost made me throw up. I couldn't stand watching too much more of that, but I did force myself to sit through the entire first episode. There's so many things wrong with just the first episode. A lot of people have commented on, but we're going to dive deep into exactly why this is weaponized against our community. So family, here's the thing. You have to teach Black children about the psychological warfare aspect of it, because see, if you have a Black child laughing at this type of denigration, think about how far reaching this could go. They go to school trying to mimic that. This is the problem. While we're talking about Good Times, that some of the original cast members of the actual show had with the JJ character, a bumbling buffoon and just portraying Black people in the worst light. Now, you take a contrasting look at the things that are promoted to the younger white children. It's always something to uplift them. Even if you look at the things like Family Guy, et cetera, they don't go but so far with their like, tongue-in-cheek humor towards their own people. I've never seen, and somebody, when you come up on the stage, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen any type of show marketed to the dominant society where they show their children, the future of their people. Okay, and if you're familiar with the 14 words of white supremacy, you know what I'm talking about. I've never seen them market degradation to their children. I've never seen a TV show where there's a male dealing white baby or anything of the like. So it's serious business when it comes to that. And that's what we're going to be discussing here. Like I said, if y'all come up here, we're going to be letting two people at a time come up and speak. Keep your mic muted till it's your turn. Try to keep your comments brief. We want to get and hear from as many people as possible. And let me reiterate this again, just in case somebody missed it coming in. I hope everybody saw the tweet. This is topic specific only. If you come in here with drama about other content creators, personal beefs about people, it'll be the shortest visit you ever have in a space. I guarantee you that. My co-host and I will get you up out of here. This is the grown folks section over here, and we're about constructive solutions to problems in Black America. So with that said, my brother, I'd like to ask you a question, Kid Gravity. If you saw, I don't even know if you watched any of the Good Times crap, because I only saw one episode of it. I would like to talk about some of the things that you noticed in it that were most disgusting, because the whole thing is, but I would like for you to talk a little bit about what you saw, if you saw it. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great question. Y'all saw the emoji I put up. I ain't watch it. I did coverage on the trailer for it, and I said, nah, this is a hard pass for me. But I read some of the synopsis, and it's a little trick they like to use. They like to use topical conversation pieces to say, okay, you might be overreacting. Like with that show, they said they did a whole episode on politics, and they know it's an election season, so now politics is everywhere. They're going to try to say, oh, well, we were putting in relevant topics in there where you guys didn't want to give it a chance. So don't say we didn't do nothing for you. You're not going to shame us on something like that. But from what I saw in the trailer and some of the still shots, we know Black people didn't write this. We know this. The showrunner is not a Black person. She's Afro-Latina. Why did you need roaches in the shower singing with one of the main characters? What Black person does this? Where's the 3-year-old drug dealing baby? Where is that? Show me the city where they do that at. And you kick the baby out the house. So there was just a lot of agendas going on there. But I think the whole premise of that show was just a money grab to get some Black people to work that Black people like. And, once again, Norman Lear, even though he gone and he was able to work on that before he passed away, it was just him as his last laugh to go screw with Black people.
I agree wholeheartedly, brother. And I want to bring up a couple more points on what you said there, because, see, when it comes to the particular Black people that are participating in this, they're talented enough that they don't have to accept these roles. And see, this is one of the concerning things about a lot of our people across the board when it comes to anything that paints our image in a bad light. And like you said, this is why we must be serious about controlling the projection of our own image to our people, especially our children. What really like pisses me off about this, when you have the talent and that's in the Good Time, because I'll give it to them, some of the people in there are very talented. When it comes to them just doing anything to accept the bag, see, what they got to be taught that, okay, if you're going to be a part of the Black community, you're going to represent the Black community well, okay? And Brother Kid Grab, you can let this brother here up, and we'll hear from him in a second. But if you're going to represent the Black community, you better represent the Black community well. Because, see, if you don't and you take the attitude, and this is what we're going to have to teach them, and yes, I'm using the word teach, we're going to have to teach these Black entertainers, just like the politicians, that if you don't represent our people well and have our best interests at heart, then there's going to be consequences and punishment behind that. Anytime that you are in a position to represent us, you better make sure that you have our best interests at heart. Because, see, when you look at also in that episode, here's the strategic way to look at that. They actually did do us a small favor. Now, I know a lot of y'all are saying, GBS, what the hell do you mean they did us a favor with this? I appreciate your comments on that, brother. And you are absolutely right, because actually that's what we were going to be talking about also later on here. But let's get right into it. I was going to go and speak on the show Castlevania on Netflix. You know, they had the first season of it. Then they came out with a spinoff called Castlevania Nocturne. But he's absolutely right in like the course of video games. We'll start with the video game thing. Now, for those of you, this might shock some of you. I was just discussing this with my good brother Kid Gravity earlier. I don't really have a lot of time to play them, but I'm what you call a legacy gamer. Yes, I'm a Gen Xer from the old school. Fact of business, let me go ahead and put my old voice. Back in my day, Sonny, we used to play the video games that didn't have a save feature. You whippersnappers have it made today. Got jokes. But anyway, we all remember those days. We're that generation out of here, man, the Nintendo generation. How many of y'all remember this trick? You had a limited time to play your video games if your parents was on your butt, like mine were. So, okay, before the save feature, what was the trick, everybody? Turn your TV off and leave the Nintendo on and just hope that nobody cut it off. You know what I'm saying? See, the young kids today, they don't know nothing about that. But I think that actually made us better gamers because we had to manage our time wisely. I stand on this. People can argue with me on this if they want, but I think Gen X, we're probably the most skilled gamers because of things like that. I think the games were a lot harder back then. But mentioning what the brother was talking about, look at Kid Gravity.
bro, you're not about to go tell y'all's frog is. Y'all not about to do that. Don't do that.
But hey, man, you know, mentioning what the brother was talking about, you know, that's something I've noticed in the video games as well. Anytime there's a black character, it's either a buffoon or a villain. And one of the things that I hate about that, if they don't go the buffoon or villain route, it's always a sidekick. Now, I'm going to date myself a lot here, but I think it's one of the best RPG games ever made. Anybody familiar with the game Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross? If you look at that, think about it. You don't know, or even today, you can't even name many black video game characters that are the lead character doing something noble. They're always a sidekick at best. Now, if somebody knows of that, let me know. Like I said, I don't really play a lot of the new stuff, being a legacy gamer, being somebody. Look, let me tell you what I mean when I say that, being I'm a Gen Xer. If it's not Double Dragon, Contra, Street Fighter, something like that, you know, I'm like, okay, I'll check it out when I have the time. But, you know, that's what I mean when I say legacy gaming. But regarding like the way we're portrayed and everything, that is a serious conversation that we have to have with black children about these issues, because, see, it will create an inferiority complex about them if they're not, you know, taught this. Because, see, before I pass the mic to my good brother Kid Gravity, every black person in here, man, woman, even if you're not a gamer, if you're not into animated shows, you will be able to relate to this. When we were coming up, Gen Xers or what have you, we didn't have much representation in like the animated cartoons or things of that nature. Probably, in my estimation that I can remember, the closest to that would have been like the G.I. Joe cartoon, the original. You know, they had like black characters in there that wasn't buffoonish or what have you. So I think that's about as balanced as I can remember, but there wasn't really a whole lot of representation like for that. So now today, the representation that they give us is either, okay, you got to be a buffoon, you got to be a villain, or you got to be a sidekick. It's nothing to promote like any type of positivity into the kids that watch the show. Because, see, our black children, and this is very important for the development of kids. Of course, you're not going to be able to like control everything, but back when we were coming up, I'll say there was a lot more positive programming on, even if we didn't have a lot of representation. But that is a part of a child's psychosocial development, seeing heroes or upstanding people that look like them, even in the cartoons. So, you know, I want to get your thoughts on this, Brother Kid Gravity, because the Brother Duckett brought up a very good point, and we're going to get further into that as the space continues.
My bad. Can you say that last part again? Because I was talking to my wife. My bad.
Oh, it's all good, brother. Family man, you doing your job. I was just talking about, you know, the representation in like the video games that the brother was saying that, you know, we really don't see any like heroic video game characters, especially like when, like I was mentioning the game Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, where there's like a young black child being a hero in the game without being somebody's sidekick or etc. So when it comes to that, man, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and we're gonna keep this ball rolling on that, because when you look at animation and video games, it's really kind of hand in hand. And I get it, if you're an adult in here, you're not into that. That's cool. But here's the thing, your children are. So like the brother Decker was saying, you better be abreast on what your children are watching, know what conversation you need to have with them. And sometimes just throw random questions at them. Like, okay, what do you think about the characters in the show? Because it's good to get the opinions of the children on what they think about not seeing representation or the representation that they do see. And then just listen and give the feedback from there. Because a lot of people overlook these types of conversations, but trust me, it's very important, because anytime that you see the dominant society in corporate America throwing big money behind something, and again, I'm using the Good Times show as the basis for this, look at the platform they put it on. A lot of kids use Netflix. It's an animated show. This is psychological warfare 101. So we got to be on top of that. But give me your thoughts on that, Brother Kid Gravity.
Well, even though you told that fib about y'all being the best game, that's beside the point. Now I had an NES growing up, so I'm from y'all. I had y'all's first video game system that went like major mainstream. And I remember the first black character I ever saw was in the game Mission Impossible, where you could pick the black guy. But I'm gonna put my tinfoil kufi on. The other two were white and they had weapons. He just had his fist. I don't know if that was just like programming or what, or whatever. And then we go down the line through history. And for a lot of gamers, the first black character they ever saw was probably Jax from Mortal Kombat. That was what, 93? I mean, it's been a steady progression for years, but there has been a lack of that. Like they always say, we got to pick like these weird white or Asian characters, but then you finally see someone like Jax, so you're cool with that. And then he'd like to race swap these characters, like Jade. She was black, and then she miraculously became Asian when they went to 3D. So, like you say, psychological warfare. But now they give us these characters, and it's always some stereotype or some aesthetic that they think that we all subscribe to, which is not. But it is what it is. And then when we finally do get enough characters in there, then they start using out the W word, and I'm sure everybody here knows what the W word is.
Exactly, man. And see, I'm glad you brought up that the part about race swapping the characters, because a lot of you may not be familiar with it, but Brother Duckett, if you are, I don't know if y'all familiar with the Castlevania show, because I want to get into that. The first one, okay, on Netflix. The black character Isaac. Everybody that's seen it, you know where I'm going with this. When they introduced him and they started talking about his background, that right there, boy, I mean, the show was doing good for those of us that, remember the Castlevania video game series from back in the day. The show was doing good until they showed that background story on the character Isaac, which they race swapped, by the way, from the games. I think that was, what was it, Castlevania, what was it, Judgment or something? I can't remember which one that introduced the Forge Master. But that's neither here nor there. They were both white. They swapped Isaac to the black character, and his backstory, a priest took him in, and the priest was beating him, like literally bloody, in this show, okay? So now what they tried to do with that, they tried to flip it later, you know what I'm saying, when he became a Forge Master. And he was one of the best fighters on the show, but he was subservient to Dracula, etc., willing to put his life on the line for Dracula. And then they turned around in the sequel to the Castlevania series on Netflix called Castlevania Nocturne. Oh boy, it's so much to unpack with that. They did a little bit of the race swapping with those characters. For anybody that's familiar with the games, the character Old Ross, he was a white vampire. In the show, he's black. Let's see, I forgot the female vampire. They swapped her to black. Both of them are villains, okay, in the show. And then they took, now this is what I'm looking to see with that, because the second season is coming up pretty soon, I think. But there was a character named Annette in there, because the show in Castlevania Nocturne is kind of centered around the Castlevania Symphony of the Night games, is the blend of that and Castlevania Rondo of Blood. The character named Richter in there. In the games, his girlfriend or wife or whatever, she was white. they switched the Annette character to a black woman, okay? And she has like a background in slavery and all of that. If any of you saw that episode, y'all saw the references to our people's culture in that. And it's just, man, it's a lot. And see, if we don't talk to black kids about what these things mean, because we know history and they may not be abreast of these things. And also, we have to take into account that this is the most integrated generation we've ever had, family. Okay. So it's not like back when we old Gen Xers and definitely not the boomers, when things were kind of more segregated. This is the most integrated generation we ever had. I'm not going to say, you know what I'm saying, that all of their friends of another race are bad. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, as black parents, we have to make sure that our kids are aware that the things that they're showing in the media, it doesn't mean the same thing to their people as it does to us. A lot of black people, and shout out to Professor Black Truth for pointing this out, many others as well, when you are looking at media, any type of entertainment media especially, the messages that are being sent to the dominant society are not the same as we perceive them. A lot of black people miss these messages in these movies and these animated shows. And we're focusing on the animated shows tonight because these are the things targeted at our children. So, you know, we definitely got to like pay attention to these types of things, even if you're not a person that's into none of the stuff we're talking about. Again, the main reason we're talking about this is your kids probably are. Some of the things that you hear us mentioning here tonight, you might want to talk to your kids about or do some research on it and just have the conversation and get their thoughts on these things, because the good times crowd, we going to have to take a firm stance against that. Like the brother Kid Gravity said, we're not going to let nobody shame us out of anything or gaslight us and tell us something that's completely disgusting and detrimental to the future of our people is something positive. We're going to put our foot down on that. And like I said, I would like for us to discuss punishment mechanisms, even if it's just socially, for the people that just want to get a bag. Because let's be clear, every black person associated with that Good Time show, it's not like they starving. It's not like that's the only gig that they could get. Some of them are successful comedians, hilariously funny. I'll give credit where it's due. But when it comes to this whole, okay, whoever's paying me, I'll do whatever, we got to let them know everything is not funny. And see, like, the reason why I'm saying that, we have to start looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, do you see the dominant society co-signing anything like it? Now, when anybody comes up here on the stage, if you've seen anything that compares to that Good Time show, please fill me in. That denigrates white people. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen no other race, to be honest with you, especially those buffer class groups. So, yeah, it's serious business with that, man. But with that said, brother, go ahead, Kid Gravity.
Somebody because I'm streaming this on YouTube, somebody said probably the closest was Married with Children. But even then, they were still an intact family.
Oh, I'm so glad they brought that in. Shout out to those over there on the Brother Kid Gravity's YouTube channel. If this is your first time over there, subscribe to that brother. He has excellent content, a lot of political content. Very funny, in my opinion. Okay, don't take my word for it. If you're new over there, subscribe to the brother's channel. But I'm glad the audience is participating over there because, hey, Brother Kid Gravity, feel free if they have any comments or questions. If they can't join us over here, feel free to bring those up and we'll answer those over here as well. I see you got your hand up, Brother Duckett. I'm going to pass the mic to you. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from the sisters too. Feel free to chime in. I know that a lot of sisters might be hesitant to come up because the last couple of spaces that I've done over here, it was just talking to the brothers. This one is all inclusive tonight, as long as you're on topic, because I want to hear from the entire community what your concerns are on these issues are. Go ahead and take the mic there, Brother Duckett.
Oh yeah, it's Duke CT, by the way. And I want to say this, that it is like I grew up, I was I'm a Gen Y, late millennial or whatever. I grew up on Batman the animated series, but also I grew up watching, like, say, Static Shock. That was like one of the cartoons that had a black character that was from DC Comics, I think a Milestone series that was there, and it was under Wayne McDuffie, and one of the most prolific comic book, people behind the scenes and such, writer and everything else. And he died back in like 2000, I believe, like in 2010. Very talented brother, and I truly believe if he was, I truly believe that if he was behind like the whole WB stuff, trying to get DC Universe active, they wouldn't be in this mess where they are right now. because he was that talented. He was behind the stuff, not only Static Shock, but also Justice League. If you remember those shows, Justice League Unlimited, all that type of stuff. He is very talented and behind the scenes and everything. And I want more. That's why I wish more people and I want not just in the front of the camera, but also behind the scenes. I want them not just in directors, but producers and stuff like like where James Gunn is or where Kevin Feige is and stuff like that. I'm like, that's what to me is the real power is, being the head there and also being student heads too. That is what I think at the end of the day should be the strive for is to be behind us. Because again, we have a lot of people in front of the camera. We have a lot of people there. I am
thoughts on something, the next people that come up, and yours as well, Kid Gravity. When it comes to these punishment mechanisms, as far as what we can control, I suggest the ostracization, letting them know that, okay, when the next thing you come out, don't be surprised if it flops, if we don't support it. We got to start sending a message to these people that, okay, you're not going to just keep doing this and then come around us like it's cool for you to misrepresent our image. And I say this with anybody of any lineage, because see, this is serious business, and it's really offensive when I see them targeting the minds of our babies this way, because our kids are innocent, okay? Our kids, they want to be kids, have a childhood. We get all of that. But see, they're not aware of these nefarious messages and this agenda that's being pumped into things like Good Times and other things that we've discussed up here. And see, look, if anybody wants to expound on the topic that the previous brother Duke CT was talking about, the video games, feel free to go there. We're talking about all animated media. That includes video games and what we can do to get on the right track with this. I'll pass the mic to you, brother Kid Gravity.
We got to invest in ourselves. That's the only way we're going to get the true images out, because like I said before, these people, they don't know how to draw us. They don't know how to talk like us. They don't know how to even think like us, even though they bring these people in there and they think they know, but it's always some, for lack of a better term, some black liberal Democrat who thinks, okay, I'm popular with black people and I use their vernacular, so I should know what they talk about and I can translate it on film, and then it comes also inauthentic. They say, hey, you know what? Y'all just don't understand it. Y'all not giving it a chance. We don't want to hear that crap no more. If you're not going to invest in us correctly, then cool. We going to make sure you don't get paid. And then you can wallow on the unemployment line. And then all these other independent creators are going to start making the money, the real money. And then y'all going to be like, ugh.
Absolutely correct. And see, I'm glad you brought up the independent circuit as well, because see, we're talking about the problem, but we're also talking about solutions. Like I said, anybody that comes up, feel free to offer your potential solutions to this, because it's going to take all of us on code together to come up with how to change this. And let's be clear, we do have the power to change this. We do, because of many of the reasons that the brother Kid Gravity just said. But see, when we see our independent content creators, and look, this might apply to some of you who are black parents that have black children that may be talented. We know today with the internet, if your child has a talent, hey, invest in that. And if they could be the next creator to create some of these independent things. But see, when we see these things, it's up to us to promote it just like we would promote the things for them folks. For example, I got to go here with it. Everybody remembers the Popeyes chicken sandwich craze. We can give that same promotion to our own people, our best and brightest, young black men and black women that are creating things that are positive for us, okay? If we want to solve the issue, when we see these things on the independent circuit, we have to support it. That's very important, because it's the only way we're going to get it, like the brother said. So, like, here's another thing I want to throw out here. I want to get the audience's opinion on this, okay, and anybody that comes up. I said I was going to go back, way back to, like, the Dragon Ball Z era, okay? So a lot of y'all probably know where I'm going with this. If anybody's familiar with that particular animated cartoon show, and a lot of us watched it, okay, remember, like, how the characters were designed, okay? Now, they're supposed to be Asian, but they look mostly white. And most Japanese anime, they make their characters look white. Now, I'm going to say it. Asian people may get offended by this, but I got to say it and tell it like it is, because this is something that I'm afraid of when it comes to stuff like Good Times. Even though the Good Times disgusting series that is garbage, I'm going to call it what it is, they've designed it where they're black looking characters with these like damn near Jim Crow features, what have you. One of the things that I'm worried about on the opposite end of that is our children having an inferiority complex, because see, look, let's just call it what it is. If you're an Asian person and you look at things like Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, great show, by the way. Okay, one of the best animated shows, honestly. But if you look at like the character designs, they look like little white boys and little white girls. So it's like that's an inferiority complex that shows that they're not really proud of who they are, trying to blend in with them folks. Now, we know the excuse that a lot of the creators will say, since they were trying to market it to a Western audience, that's why they did it. But see, let's look at that. if they're trying to market it by Western, we know they made America. That's where they're going to get the most money for it. But if by that token, that shows you that they see, okay, we're mostly targeting the white audience. If you're really going to do that right, America is a mixture of people, okay? So now you did see different characters on things like Dragon Ball Z, etc., but the focus was centralized around the whiter looking characters being the leads and the stars. So that's something that we got to try to offset with our own independent media with these types of things, because it's not going to happen if we don't do it. And then again, like I said, we got to start putting our brains together on punishing these people that are determined to just disregard that. And like I said, I say ostracization, not supporting their projects. Some of you may have some other ideas on that, but it's time, because, see, we're in a serious critical hour of our history when it comes to us being on code and focus. And the main thing is, when I say we need to take it serious about what we're going to do about these particular issues, here's the thing. All young people are looking at how the adults handle particular situations, whether we realize it or not. All the time, I try to be mindful of it myself in my day-to-day life. Children that you don't even know, your own, of course, but children that you don't even know are looking at how we conduct ourselves and what we tolerate in itself. We're teaching them how to deal with certain things. Generation gaps aside, okay? We understand that the culture is different from the younger generations, but when it comes to just the general consensus of how you handle being disrespected as a people, it's important for us to show them that, hey, no, there's a line that you don't allow to be crossed. And this is just going to shock some of you. I've said this many times. I will give the Jewish community credit. When they feel like their people have been disrespected, a lot of times they just throw anti-Semitism around where it is none. But when they feel like their people have been disrespected, the slightest inkling of it, they all get on code and they stand up and say, no, there's nobody within the group talking about, well, it's kind of funny, or, well, it's okay. They're like, if you're going to continue to wear this small hat mantle, you better be on code. So that's the kind of mindset that I want to see our people adopt when it comes to anything across the board that's harmful to us. And with that said, Brother Kid Gravity, I'll pass the mic to you, Brother Torrin. If you have the time to join us, feel free to come on in, brother. If I had the business, I'll send you a request. I would love to get your thoughts on it. Brother Kid Gravity, are you there, brother? If not,
yes, sir.
Okay, there you go, brother.
It's so, like you say, it's always a problem when we want to control our own image. It's always a problem. And it'd be funny if we could control our own image, people would make more money on it. But everybody want to be in control. Why not say so? Okay, I can't wait till when they drop this that Black Samurai show, because they're developing it now. Oh, we know AAPI gonna have a problem with that. When we start telling the real story about the Black folks in Mexico, Mexicans gonna have a problem with that. Look, they had a problem with Kevin Hart putting up images of Egypt. I just can't wait for November 5th, because this whole world needs a reset. That's just where I'm at with it right now.
Absolutely. And see, I'm glad that you brought up the political component to this as well, because, see, something that I'm going to start doing, I really want to do some deep diving and see where a lot of this funding and promotion is coming from with the Good Times disgusting field. Because I wouldn't be surprised if it connected to the damn Democratic Party. We got to call it what it is. Not saying the Republicans are better, but we see the agenda that the Democrats have, because, see, we're going to tie this in as well. When you look at how that particular party, the donkey party, as I like to call them, when you look at how they try to appeal to Black people, when you look at how they try to come to us, it's always shucking and jiving. When it comes to us, it's never about policy and tangibles and things that are going to benefit us. They don't approach other groups this way. So I've always said it. They're trying to weaponize the degenerates against our society, and even more so, the ones that they've got already. Because, see, let's look at this progression, okay? It's going to the side for a minute here, but y'all bear with me. We all remember the Nicki Minaj's, the Cardi B's, okay, the Megan Stallions. Okay, That wasn't good enough. They're like, oh no, you ain't quite doing it for us. So we got to bring in the new crop, the Suki Hunters, the Sexy Reds, the Glorillas. Okay. So now, when you look at that, when it applies to the Good Times disgusting field, they're looking at it like, okay, the stuff that we've been showing you that wasn't really putting black folks in a positive light, we got to step it up. We got to step it up and take it a step further. And let the good brother Sincere Love the God up. I would love to hear him. But they're saying they got to step it up now. So the next generation of degenerates, they want to train this into the minds of our children with that Good Times feel. And so this is why we got to let these particular entertainers that are involved in this crap know that, hey, man, this is a benign thing. This isn't a harmless crime. You are not going to participate in the degradation and denigration of our future because, see, if a lot of people say, well, G-Biz, why are you so upset about this? Why is this a particular topic of discussion here? Let me tell you something. And I want every black person to understand this, especially the black parents that are in here. You don't know what type of greatness is in that black child's mind that you raising, the young boy, young girl. They could have the answers to many of the things that we are talking about solving here. And see, the dominant society knows that, okay, to prevent you from being able to get that far, let's corrupt you now. Let's make you think that being a buffoon is funny, that degradation and all types of degeneracy is something that you laugh at. Because, see, I got to go back to the warfare aspect, family. If I'm waging war against you and you too silly to understand the threat on the battlefield, if I can keep you high, drunk, laughing, partying, it's easy for me to exterminate you. Okay. Again, I'll give you another one. Like I said earlier, the analogy where it's like you putting poison in candy and passing out to children. Hey, kids only know they want candy. So it's like, those of us who are adults, we see this danger and we have to make sure that black children understand that, yes, it's okay to be funny. For example, as far as I would go, as far as like any type of animation that has certain things in there, would be the Boondocks. It was balanced, okay? That was funny. I watched that. They had some things in there here and there, but it wasn't all degradation like this Good Times field, okay? That there's no comparison to that. I've never seen anything like that. And like I said, I'm not gonna watch no more of it. I watched that first episode to get the gist of it, but like I said, just make sure you understand that your black children, those minds, they're our future, man. They're valuable. So we must protect those precious black minds at all costs. So, Brother Kid Grab, if you had something to say, chime in. And if not, we'll pass the mic to our good brother, Sincere Love the God. By the way, brothers and sisters, if you don't know who Sincere Love the God is, this is one of our talented foundational black American musicians. This brother has excellent music out. I call it mind medicine. The brother has a platform where he also hosts. In fact, the business brother, put your you and Kid Gravity, put your platforms in the Jumbotron so the ladies and gentlemen over here can subscribe to those. We got our good brother Torian Rain in here. We'll put his up there as well. But I'm going to pass the mic to you, Brother Kid Gravity. If you don't have anything to contribute to it at this point, we'll let the brother Sincere Love the God speak.
No, I ain't got nothing because I can't do nothing on there, remember. So you might have to do it for me. But Sincere, you can go ahead.
All right, peace. Yeah, when you say put the link in there, I don't know how to mess with this Twitter space, X space, whatever it's called nowadays. Am I supposed to just put it?
Yeah, if you have your tweet, if you have your channel link, like if you put up like you're promoting a video or a live you're doing, just hit the share button and it should have the title of the space when you do it, and then it'll just come in here.
Okay, I think I just did it. That's the link to the me and Nicety Girls YouTube channel where we have Sincere Love the Godcast at. If you guys would subscribe to that, we would definitely appreciate it. We actually just came off of a live broadcast just now, and I had to hop on here because I knew you brothers, and shout out to Kid Gravity and Ray Black Shark, by the way. I knew you guys were hosting this space and covering this topic. I stayed away from it just for that very reason, but I'm glad you guys are getting into it. I don't know what you guys covered so far with it, but I haven't seen much of it. I watched like maybe half of the first episode. Obviously, I saw the trailer. And that was pretty much enough for me. The main thing, or besides all the degradation and all of that stuff, it's like it's not even funny. It's not funny at all. The animations kind of suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know who the target audience is supposed to be. It's all over the place. But I seen recently, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but even one of the biggest buck dancers out there, Stephen A. Smith, um, was talking about, how degrading this show was and how he doesn't know how Stephen Curry got behind this and got his name attached to it and all of that. And I was like, damn, even Stephen A. Smith could see the problem, what's really going on here? But really, when I listened to him talk, he didn't even really get to the heart of the matter as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? About what the real issue is with shows like this. And that is, this is a form of warfare. Like GBS was just saying, the media is warfare. And this is how they attack the minds of, our children. And even, not even just the children, but even, some of the adults who are asleep. You know what I'm saying? This just more stuff to keep them asleep. You know what I'm saying? And so I seen the statement from Steph Curry, because a lot of people was getting on Steph Curry's head because he's listed as one of the executive producers of the show and all of that. And a lot of people was getting at him. And he put out a statement out there kind of explaining, saying, yeah, the show is a little edgy or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically saying, it's made for adults and I wouldn't watch it with my children. But that's not even the problem. The problem is not that it's adult content. The problem is the images that you're putting out there of Black people. You know what I'm saying? The dehumanization of Black people and making this post something that's supposed to be representative of what our culture is. That makes it easy for us to be targets out here. It makes it easy for Black people, Black men, Black women, and Black children. I mean, you got a baby on the show that's a damn drug dealer. It makes everybody a target and gives the white supremacists an easy pass to be able to say, well, who cares? This is how these people behave anyway. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. Who cares about what happens to them anyway? So whenever we are harmed or whenever we are, denied of resources and deprived of any type of respect or dignity or anything like that, this is the excuse that they use. And so that's the real problem. And that's the part that, Stephen A. wasn't really getting at when he was condemning the show. He did condemn the show, but he didn't really get to the heart of the matter. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if y'all talked about all this already, but that's what I wanted to add for now. I'll land my plane.
I wish Steph Curry would have had that edge. He might be in the playoffs right now.
I know that's right, man. But hey, you brought up some excellent points, brother Sincere, and see, you right on that. Because see, family, everybody that's listening to this live or on the playback, it makes it easy for them to dehumanize us. When you look at the history of Black people in America and around the world, honestly, they've always viewed us, and I got to go here with it, they see us as less than animals, okay? I've often brought up the book Boss of the Delta with a white Hispanic that was the governor of Louisiana at that time, Leander Perez. The best way to hate an N-word is to hate him while he's in his mother's womb. This is a quote that's quoted that he made, okay? So when it comes to these images of us in animated media and even outside of that with the degenerates like the Sexy Reds, the Suki Hunters, the Blue Faces, whoever, it makes it easy for them to weaponize that dehumanization against us because, see, as I said earlier, when they're watching any given thing or listening to it, it doesn't mean the same thing to them that it does to a lot of us. And see, here's an important question that I definitely want to pass to the brother Kid Gravity and brother Sincere Love to God, because there's a lot of sisters listening here, and I understand that everybody's family situation isn't the same. But these two brothers here are qualified to speak on the question I'm about to ask them because both of them are married family men. As Black fathers, you two, because I don't have any children, so I want to hear from brothers that are qualified to speak on this. As a Black father, okay, both of you as Black fathers, what would you suggest having a conversation? What would the conversation go like if you were sitting down with your children and discussing this with them? I would love for both of you to go into detail as much as you could about that, because that just may help a brother or a sister here that's a single parent, because it's going to take all of us being, on code against this, regardless of what our family dynamic is. I mean, we can't just say, okay, because that person is in a perfect situation, we can't just say, okay, that doesn't matter. Who knows what their children could grow up to be? It's going to take all hands on deck. So if you brothers would, I would love for you to speak to that. Let us know what the conversation would be if you had to sit down with your children, or what would you suggest for other people to sit down with their children to discuss why this isn't okay?
The best thing ever created was YouTube family accounts, because you can monitor everything. Like even with our kid, you know how kids are. They like to scroll on YouTube and all these apps, and all these videos pop up, and you kind of get to look at them. That's a tough conversation nowadays, because a lot of these cartoons start off innocent, and then you really got to sit up there and listen to some of this stuff and watch some of this stuff, and then you see the agenda. You're like, now we're gonna hit the dislike on that. We're gonna say don't recommend this channel no more. But by then, your kids already know how to spell that show's name. They know what to look for. Even you got some of these creators out here, they're doing content based on that character. So it's tough. It's tougher than when we were growing up. A lot tougher, because you just say, "Hey, you're not watching that show no more." You cut the TV off. You say, "Okay, you're not watching this." They know all workarounds. So the best thing we could do as Black parents is we got to screen everything, from the music to these apps. Hell, even these books. Sometimes we got to make sure we know what our kids are watching and what they're consuming, because I don't care what side it is, they all want to be the one to teach your kids, not you.
Absolutely correct. And see, I hope everybody's taking notes on that, because look, I'm putting this into account as well. When I speak to my people over here, because I love my people, I want to see us empowered, and I want to see us at the height of what we're able to become. And we're not going to get there without protecting the minds of our future, which is our kids. I'm also taking into account that there may be young Black parents listening to this, and hopefully they'll get something out of it. So, Brother Sincere, if you will, what would that conversation go like if you had to talk to your children, or what would you suggest other parents start with when you're trying to get your children or program them with the insulation to recognize that, okay, this is animated. Yes, there are Black people in it, but this does not speak to how our people are supposed to be, and it's actually a detriment designed to look as if it's supposed to be entertainment. I would love for you to expound on that, my brother.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the question, because I think that is very important, and we need to share these tactics with one another, because it's not just about my children. You know what I'm saying? Your children is my children too. And so, we have to create that village by getting each other on code, and like I said, sharing the different methods on what's working for you and your household. And so I appreciate what Kid Gravity said about the screening. I think that's very important. Um, Elijah Muhammad said that we should study the white supremacist because he is wise in all of his ways. And so I took one of the tactics that I learned from the white supremacists when I was incarcerated. When I was incarcerated in New York State Penitentiary System, they had something called the media review, where they was trying to keep away positive Black propaganda and empowering information away from us. And so certain books weren't allowed to come into the jail. You know what I'm saying? And these are books that we would all here consider required reading, that would be on the list. They didn't want us to read the John Henry Clarks. They didn't want us to read, the Elijah Muhammads. They didn't want us to read, I can go on and on with the names. You know what I'm saying? You guys get the gist. But a lot of the information that would be empowering to us, they would screen it, and try to stop us from being able to get it, and come up with different rules and excuses to be able to prevent us from getting certain books. And so they had something called the media review. So where if you ordered books, or if your people sent you books or anything like that, magazines or anything like that, they would have to screen it first and then approve it before you get it. And so I employ that same method in my household. We do a media review. Any books that come from the library, bookstores, anything like that, anything that is going to be on Netflix or YouTube or whatever the case may be, we have to screen it first and give the okay before my son is allowed to watch it, before he's allowed to read it, you know what I'm saying? Before he's allowed to consume any type of media, it has to go through the screening process. And so that is something that we all should be doing. But I think we have to take it a step beyond that, because we can screen all we want, but at the end of the day, we can't prevent them from having access to some of these things. I recently went on a school field trip with my son when we went to the zoo. And one thing that I noticed, he's only in third grade, by the way. He's 8 years old, he's in the third grade. And he was the only student in the whole class that didn't have a cell phone. All the other kids got cell phones. They there pulling out their cell phone, taking pictures. They're on social media and they sharing with each other. You know what I'm saying? My son got to go to school with them too. So I could tell my son, nah, you ain't having no cell phone. You ain't having no social media. But his friends at school got it. And so all he got to do is look over their shoulder while they scrolling and he see what they see. You know what I'm saying? So we can't prevent it as much as we try to screen. So we have to be more proactive. And that means we have to educate our children. Unfortunately, at a very early age, we have to get them to understand as best as we can what white supremacy is and how it works. You know what I'm saying? We can't think, that we can shield them from that, and maybe we'll talk to them about that later on when they get a little bit older, whatever the case may be. Now, you have to figure out ways to put it in a language that they can understand as early as possible. So that way, when they do come across certain content, their antennas go up. You know what I'm saying? They're not as susceptible. They become bad soil. When they're trying to plant those seeds, the soil is just barren. Nothing is going to grow there because you done already, groomed them and made sure that they understood certain keywords, made sure that they understood certain tactics that the white supremacists use. Once they have a certain level of understanding of how these things work, then when they come across it, when they're not under your supervision, their antennas go up. It doesn't sit right with them. And so usually when something like that happens, my son, the first thing he'll do when he come home is tell me about it. Dad, guess what? Such and such and such and such. You know what I'm saying? I remember he was reading a book one time. This book he was reading was innocent. It was some story about some robots. These robots was fighting with each other, something like that. I forgot exactly what it was, but I have a video of it too. I posted it on my social media. This was a little while back. This one, maybe he was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, something like that. But he was reading this book, and whatever the story was where these robots was going at each other, he was like, Dad, this kind of sounds like colonization. And I'm like, really? What you mean? Explain it. I had him explain it to me, and I recorded it and I posted it on social media. So it's somewhere on my Instagram somewhere. But, even though that's not exactly what was explicitly happening in the book, he was able to relate the scenario in the book that he was reading about with the things that I was teaching him about of how colonization works. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I mean by being proactive and making sure that, they become bad soil so that those seeds cannot be planted. Nothing will grow. And with that, I'll land my plane.
Outstanding advice from any parent that's in the audience listening to that. That brother was spot on with that. Salute to that young king that you raised, and salute to your family as well, Brother Kid Gravity, because that's exactly what you have to do. You have to get out in front of that with counter propaganda. Propaganda, as we know, can be good or bad. And see, this is why, whether it's Brother Tariq Nasheed that puts out, the history books for the kids. Okay. And I'm trying to remember that, y'all correct, any one of y'all chime in if y'all know the name of this brother's channel. We all know the Elder Neely Fuller Jr., but there's a channel where this brother, he does an animated version of a lot of the things that the brother Neely Fuller is saying. He's using his voice and he put animation to it. So one of the solutions that I have with this, and if you're a Black content creator that does positive things for Black children in any form of media, if you listen to this broadcast, whether it's live or recorded, get in touch with myself, Brother Kid Gravity, or Brother Sincere Love the God, because we're talking solutions over here with the problem. So we're going to do our part to promote these positive things. In fact, the brother Sincere Love to God, he has a children's book that they've written with his son in there. In fact, the business brother, when you speak here, please promote that and put that in the comments or the chat room, because see, we got to make sure that when we talk about these things, we give solutions also. Because see, anytime I hold a space, I want the ladies and gentlemen over here to understand this. I may present a problem. I may present what I think a solution is, but I always want to hear from the community that's concerned about how we solve this problem. Because see, one piece of the puzzle isn't going to get it done. We all have different thought processes that we put those pieces together. Now we have a whole puzzle with a whole solution. So I'm going to pass the mic back to you, brother. Please do promote that, because I forgot about that book. So we got to do all we can to reach out to these people that might have these types of independent media that we're looking for, and let them know, hey, listen, you got that? We'll promote it over here so that our people know where to find it, because it's all hands on deck. So I'll pass the mic to you, brother.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going with it. You reminded me. I don't know how I forgot, but yeah, that's the other thing. Counter it with positive propaganda. And like the brother was saying, we do have a children's book series. Volume 1 is available now. It's called Seven, the Super Hey Rule. That's the name of the series. Volume 1 is called Seven's Big Move. You all can go to godcastbooks.com and order Volume 1 now. We are working on 2 and 3 as we speak, as well as activity book. And so those will be getting released very soon. We're working with the illustrators now to finish up on those. But yeah, that's exactly why we started the series. You know what I'm saying? Because we see what's going on with a lot of agendas being pushed, not just the degeneracy that we see with shows like this Good Times reboot, but we know the LGBTQ is on the march, and they have our children in the crosshairs as well. And so we were seeing a lot of that stuff being pushed out there, and it being so hard for us to find stuff that's okay for our children to watch and stuff like that. Like we were just explaining how we got to do all this screening. And so, like the brother Great Black Shark was saying, we have to do things to counteract that. And so that's the reason why we got together and we started creating this book series, and like he was saying, my son, the main character in the book is based on my son, Seven. And, he's like an advanced learner. He started reading at a very young age, doing advanced math and stuff like that at a very young age. And so we just kind of took his personality and built a children's series around that, so that our children can have something that's more positive, you know what I'm saying, that will inform them about some of the things that we're talking about. Like I was explaining earlier, we have to figure out ways to put in a language that they can understand. You don't want to traumatize your kid and bombard them with all this heavy information that we have to deal with on a regular basis when it comes to what we're up against. But we have to figure out ways to put it in a language that they can understand and they would be able to absorb it without being traumatized. And so the children's book series is one of those ways. You know what I'm saying? Because it's fun, it's kind of lighthearted, but it does have those messages, those important messages in there so that they can get the information as well. So thank you for reminding me of that, brother. And I'll put the link inside the comments as well. I see my sister Nicey girl is up in here too. So Nicey, you probably know how to use this better than me. So you could put the link in there so they can know where to order the book. Appreciate that, bro.
No doubt, man. Y'all know me, man. Anytime I'm on my channel or if I host a space and I know there's a brother or sister that's got something positive and empowering to the community, I will promote the hell out of it. And see, let me encourage the brothers and sisters listening to this space tonight. It wasn't conducted with a doom and gloom mindset. Let me tell you, the contrary is true. I look at these things as a chance for our people to rise to the occasion and create these solutions. We have it within us to do, no matter what our lineage is. If we're on code, here's the thing. Anytime in history that we've gotten on code and decided to fight back against anything towards us, we will win, okay? So be encouraged with the things that you're hearing here, because, see, again, I'm going to say it one more time. If you're a brother or sister that's a Black animator, content creator, whatever you got going on, we need to hear from you over here in these new Black media spaces. We all might not have the biggest channels, but everybody has their part to play. I want to hear from you. These other two brothers, Kid Gravity, Sincere Love to God, we would love to hear from you so we can put your faces out there, put your products out there. Let our people know where to find this, because it's going to take all of us to combat this. I see we have a speaker, Charles, up here. Brother, yes, go ahead and chime in on the subject matter. I see my good brother Mikhail is in here. Brother, if you have the time over there, I know there's a time difference where you are. I would love to get your thoughts on this. So, Brother Charles, you have the mic. Please do chime in.
PBS, can I piggyback real quick before we let Charles go? Just
Yes, sir.
piggyback real quick on what you just said.
Yes, sir. Feel free.
So to all the other creators out there, like he said, that's another thing. On our channel, on the Godcast channel, we have a series called the Black Business Showcase. So if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, you got any products or services, anything like that, hit me up or hit up Nicety Girl. Let us know what you got going on so we can get you on the schedule and feature you on the Black Business Showcase. But go ahead, Charles. Appreciate it.
Afternoon to Great Black Shark and co-host Kid Gravity B1 family. I just want to piggyback off what Sincere Love said in terms of promoting ourselves and promoting a positive image. I'm a child of the 90s, so what we can do is just go back and show our children and grandchildren, if some of y'all have them, the positive images like TV shows such as Fresh Prince, Stag Shock, Gullah Gullah Island, Lil Bill, and hunt down those books that we used to read back in the 90s, because now today it's more of a push, especially across all the media, TV, comics, reading literature, everything is anti-black. So like I said, what we can do is just go back, reach into our childhood, and just show our children, hey, this is how I want you to see yourself. Because just like what Professor Black Truth said, if you can show somebody how they see themselves, you can show them what you can do with themselves. So we need to enforce that in our kids and just promote that type of image. And just to not get off track, but in terms of TV and I guess you could say video games, I'm starting to see a lot of or even the comics. I'm starting to see a lot of the female characters or the female love interest be switched, the race swapping. It's just all throughout, and we can see how that is, and how they promote our women. And for the video game, a lot of the video games that promote a black hero, they will not they will not how will I say this, have them in the hero sense. Like let's say Mafia 3. Mafia 3 it has a predominantly black character, and that character, he does go against the Ku Klux Klan in terms and in the mafia. And a lot of the fans or a lot of the outright people who know about that game don't really like that game because of that. Now, when you have a game such as Red Dead Redemption, you have a white character, but that character is going against the Ku Klux Klan, and they promote that. And you see other things such as a video game called Deathloop. Deathloop features two black characters, but they're very hostile to each other. Spoiler: they're both related to each other, father and daughter. The only positive, I guess you could say, image I seen of a black character in a video game was this video game in Prototype 2, where this character, he can shapeshift, turn himself into a weapon. He was a black man who was a Marine, and both his daughter and his child wife was killed. So throughout the game, he just on this path to defeat the previous protagonist, and a lot of fans didn't like that either. So that's all I just wanted to say. Just promote black image through our media. That's it.
I appreciate that, brother, because like I said, that's what it's gonna take. And that's a very important point that you brought up there about us showing them things from our past to anchor their minds where it should be in a positive sense. And see, I gotta go here. I'm glad you brought up that about the video games. We all remember what probably arguably was the best-selling Grand Theft Auto game of all time. I gotta go here. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Look what they got behind, okay? The character CJ. Not a lot of us probably played the game, but look what the only lead black character that they will put in a role where you got to be a gangbanger, get this, that, third, fit the stereotype. And then for those that are not gamers, some of you probably remember this. I know you remember it, our brother Kid Gravity. Anybody remember that Mortal Kombat? I forget which one it was, where Jax's ending was he actually freed his people from slavery. All the white.
That was 11.
11? Okay. Oh, they were irate about that. Oh boy, they are still complaining about that this day. And see, before we get out of here, I'm gonna give y'all, we gotta inject a little bit of humor in here. Anytime you're arguing with these white supremacists, see, we have to classify the alabastrosities. Yes, I said alabastrosities. We have to classify them accordingly. So I'm going to give you a new acronym, and I actually came up with a character. Y'all are going to see it pretty soon. I call them asses. Now, what does ASS stand for? Okay, it stands for Angry Saxon Styrofoamians. Yes, in fact, I'm going to put in the comments what the Angry Saxon Styrofoamian looks like, because, see, they don't like it when, we actually label them, what I'm saying, accordingly. So I just want to encourage all of you listening, do not argue with the asses. If you're on my Patreon, you already saw this. I'm going to be including this in my new, my ongoing Children of the Chalk series, because they didn't like the mascot that I have on there. It's a piece of bread with a mayonnaise frown. So, hey, I'm a creative brother. I decided to put that in the comments there. So they're now asses, Angry Saxon Styrofoamians, as in the cup. So, I just want to throw that in there. But anyway, you were right about that, Brother Charles. I appreciate that input. And see, I want to start doing more of these types of spaces where we hear from everybody, because, see, I don't want the sisters to be afraid to come up. We need your input too. Over here, we're on code. We don't do that gender banging. We want to hear from everybody. The best way for us to solve our issues and problems is for on code black men and black women of any lineage, I'll say. If you on code, we put our heads together and come up with what we need to do to fight this beast known as white supremacy. I'm going to throw it back to you, Brother Kid Gravity, then you, Brother Charles, and then Sincere will get your thoughts, because I don't want to keep everybody too long. I know it's a Sunday or what have you, but I feel like this has been constructive so far. So with that said, I'm going to throw it to you, Kid Gravity. Brother Charles, you got next. Then Brother Sincere will get ready to close out.
Family. Now, I'm an avid comic head, so I've seen everything from the 80s and 90s when they brought Steel in to now we're here in 2024. If you thought the Black Panther controversy was bad, them white supremacists are fixing to go nuclear when this new Century comic drops, because they just introduced, because everybody, if you're familiar with comics or not, Century is basically Marvel's version of Superman. He basically has limitless powers. But that version just died last year, and now they're introducing a new version who happens to be a black female. Them Kardashians about to lose their mind.
Oh, they are going to lose it. Oh, man. You know what? I may have to go and check that out, because, see, the only thing that I think will rub them the wrong way or piss them off even more, can you imagine what I'm about to say here? Because speaking of the comments and the controversy, all the older heads and the comic book heads, I know a lot of you ladies might not relate to that. I'm not going to be a chauvinist and say no women read comics, but I get it. Remember the character Blue Marvel? That was a black man. Can you imagine if they put him in the MCU and then they put Sentry in there as a black woman? Man, that would be hilarious. Oh, that would be worth the price of admission alone, boy. Like you said, boy, the styrofoamians, boy, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves, man. But yeah, Brother Kid Gravity, finish your thought, man. I just had to chime in on that one. Then we'll get you, Brother Charles, and Brother Sincere.
Me? Is my goal GBS?
You know what, Brother Charles, did you have your hand up still?
Oh, sorry, I just put it down. So hey, I just want to chime in right quick. I can't remember who it was first, and this just off the being pep for video games. I forgot who it was first. I don't know if it was Jax or if it was TJ Combo from Killer Instinct that I saw that as myself when I was a young kid.
That was
TJ
probably
Combo was a
Jax.
boxer. Say again.
That was probably Jax because Killer Instinct was 95.
Gotcha. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I remember that too, and you were right. It was probably Jax first, and then Killer Instinct, man. By the way, I remember that game, man. Good times, man. Back in the day, I saw the remake that they had that came out. What was it, a couple years ago? I forgot what they called that. I didn't really get a chance to play
Oh,
it.
that was 2013.
Yeah, you know what they did, the redesign of the iDog character or what have you. But yeah, man, like I said, these are things that are important to discuss when it comes to this. And brother Sincere, it's your turn now, bro. I want to get your thoughts on this. Like I said, I know it's Sunday, everybody got stuff to do. We're gonna get ready to wrap it up after you give your thoughts. And again, when we do these spaces, I want to encourage the sisters, hey, come on up, give your 2 cents. You don't have to be the best orator or whatever. If you got any type of contributions to solving these problems, I just want you to know that this is a constructive space over here, no gender banging. We try to keep it solution oriented, and we'll crack a joke or two here or there. So, our brother Sincere, with that said, I'll pass the mic to you, brother.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, man, I just want big y'all up for holding the space and having the conversation, putting this out there. I think it's important. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all brothers for doing this. And yeah, anytime I could be a part of it, I'll definitely be pulling up and adding my little 2 cents. But yeah, Charles had mentioned something when he spoke about, using the throwbacks, you know what I'm saying, as part of the a way to counteract some of this nonsense. And that's another thing that I do as well. I put my son onto the old school cartoons, put my son onto the old school TV shows when things were more innocent. And he liked them joints. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like I got to force feed it to him or nothing. Once you expose him to it, the stuff was funny. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? And so he liked them joints. He's into, the old school Looney Tunes and, stuff like that. Some of the other old shows I forgot right now, but he be watching a lot of old school stuff. A lot of the new stuff he don't even know about like that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really into it because, I just, like I said, I monitor everything. And so that's important, man. We gotta keep on doing that. And so again, I appreciate you, GBS, Kid Gravity. And oh yeah, I want to ask you too, because you sound like you know more about this than me. I'm not into the video games and all that stuff like that. But Seven does want to be a gamer. That's his thing. And so I've been exposing him to getting into coding, and he's real good at math and stuff like that. And so I'll be always putting him in any free coding class I could get online. I'll sign him up. I took him to one of these code ninja places out here a couple of times and let him do the free trials that they be having and stuff out there. But he really wants to get into the gaming aspect, playing games, but I want him to get into creating games as well. You know what I'm saying? But any information that you guys can share with me about getting him started, because I don't know how to stream, none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he wants to do.
I can give you a little advice, brother. I know there's coding camps because I'm trying to get my daughter into one. They have like these little coding camps for like a week. I don't know if you've done that yet, but there's also, if you go online and like type in like either online game creating, something like that. I forgot like the exact term of it, but they have like online courses for kids. They can learn how to create video game characters if that's what he really wants to do. And then
Right.
I think they also do for like summer to give kids credit if they do courses like that, if they want to get into STEM. And so you could do that too later on in a few years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, like with the streaming, like streaming video games and all of that, I know just from listening to Tariq show over the years that a lot of those white supremacist children like to hang out in those chat rooms and do all type of weird stuff in the chats and all that. So any advice that you could give with trying to avoid that stuff and counteracting those type of activities
do the
as well.
YouTube template. I didn't mean to cut you off. Do the YouTube
Say it again.
template. Do the YouTube template. Basically, have him record it, him playing it, and then just upload it.
So he's not live. Got it.
And
Got it.
if he wants to do that, you could either invest in the gaming computer or get Steam, which is basically like the PC version of PlayStation 4 and Xbox.
And here's another thing that you could do with that too, because I'm gonna send you some information to your inbox once the space ends that'll actually help him get into like the creative side of game development. I've got some contacts in that industry, and I'll definitely send that information to you. But when it comes to like, okay, if he's gonna be online gaming, here's a way that you could kind of set that up and control it, dealing with those white supremacists. If you know any of his like, black friends, like they should form their own little group and just like go live with each other. That way it could be more monitored, more controlled, kind of keep them out, like whatever the games they want to play online. If that's what he's trying to do, as far as like the streaming, like Brother Kid Gravity said, the uploads would be better. And if he's going to live stream, it should be on days where you're there, to be able to monitor that. Because look, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a market that our children should be in. If we're going to have control over like how these things are going and they're interested in it, then we just have to do the best we can to supervise it. And if we get enough people on code doing that, we can take these things over and create a positive space for our kids. Okay. So like, hey brother, I'm gonna definitely send you that information because that's great, because see, the future minds, they will create these things that we're talking about. And see, the number one thing, too, that I want to leave everybody with while we're talking about creation and ownership, no matter what it is that we create, we got to get into this mindset of promoting to the next generation. Once you create something, you do not sell it to them folks. We all saw how Versus went, Swiss Beats and Timberland. I'm like, listen, man, when you create something, if you're going to sell it, pass it on to our people, because they're not giving us control of any of their creations and inventions. They pass that down to their families, or at the very least, they try to find one of them folks to pass it on to before they give it to a black person. If they give it to us, you better believe it's either something wrong with it, has no value, or no more use. So that's something else we got to encourage. But with that being said, brothers and sisters here, I thank you for your time. If you showed up, thank you to my co-hosts, Brother Sincere, Brother Charles, everybody that spoke. We're going to get everybody's closing thoughts. And Brother Mikhail, if I can ever catch you on the next go around, brother, because I know you're across the globe where they're doing big things. And that's another brother right there. If he had time to speak anything involving technology, brother, I know you humble. That is a very brilliant black man right there. I got to do a show with him just on technology alone when I have the time. Very brilliant, brother. That's somebody right there that could definitely instruct you if you have black children that are into STEM, as far as like whatever they're trying to do, video games, etc. He can definitely give you all the information you need on how to set them on the right path with that. So with that said, we're going to get everybody's closing thoughts. And, we'll let everybody continue to enjoy their Sunday. Any closing thoughts, Brother Kid Gravity? Then we'll get you Sincere and Brother Charles next.
Well, GBS, thank you for letting me co-host with this. This is a very informative conversation. Even though it started off weird because they kicked me out of Twitter for 12 hours, it was still fun. But if you want, my channel is called K Gravity Beyond on YouTube. I do politics and social commentary, and we do get crazy, like Brother Great Black Shark said. And Shark, you really need to get the membership, because that's when we really get crazy. But I'm not going to tell you how to do with your money. But also, ladies, I know, like Shark kept saying over and over again, these are safe spaces. We're not going to yell on y'all. We're going, if you say something that we don't agree with, we're going to have a conversation. But also, don't be discouraged. We out here for you. We out here fighting for you. We out here fighting for the children. We out here fighting for ourselves. Because without y'all, we're not as big as we think we are. Y'all are the ones that help, make us go through those brick walls of supremacy and those brick walls of racism. And also, my last thought, if everybody's familiar with Misty Knight, if you watch the Luke Cage show, in the comics, now they mad again, because I just saw in my comment thread, somebody said that they already mad that the female Sentry is now a black woman. Misty Knight, that character from Luke Cage with the metal arm, she just defeated Venom, one of the most powerful characters in comics. So, they about to lose their mind off of that too. So don't be discouraged. At least some people out there want to see y'all more than Storm. So don't be discouraged. But with that, I'm gonna land.
Any closing thoughts, brother Sincere? And thank you for bringing that up. I got to check that out with Misty Knight. I remember that character. And I got before brother Sincere speaks, again, I co-signed that. Anytime sisters are over here, even if you have an opposing view, we're respectful over here. And we definitely require you to be respectful coming up. But your opinions and thought processes are welcome because without y'all, we're only half a unit. The way I always see that between like gender roles between black men and black women, this is my old school ex-military consensus. Y'all, those of you that know my background, the brothers, we're the tanks, we're the hardware on the battlefield. The women, y'all the technicians that keep the equipment running. And when everybody operates at their own, best interest with in line with the natural order of things, we can't lose. Okay, so the sisters are always welcome to give their thoughts over here. We're gonna pass it to you, brother Sincere, and brother Charles will get your closing thoughts next.
Yes, sir, man. I just want to say, thank y'all for having me on, let me speak and all of that, and just holding the space once again. Anybody that's interested, subscribe to us on YouTube at Godcast Enterprises. Godcast Enterprises on YouTube, and I'm at Sincere Love to God on all social media platforms. I'm mostly active on Instagram, so that's about it, man. Appreciate y'all.
Brother Charles, your closing thoughts.
Thank you for holding the space and letting me speak. Final things I want to say is Hip Hop Cartoons is the YouTube channel that have the Nitty Fuller cartoons on it. And for you, Brother Sincere, two channels that I would recommend for your son to watch if you want to get into gaming is RDC and the Black Hokage. Those are two black content creators that have some good information on how to make it in the streaming business. Be one and good night.
Thank you very much for that information. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of this particular Black Ocean space. We will be doing more of these. And, we want to hear from everybody. When we discuss these things, they won't always be serious subject matter. But when we address the serious subject matter over here, you see, we don't do any of the goofy trolling. We don't let the styrofoamians have a say-so over here because I'm of the mindset that when we're talking to our people about solutions in our community, we don't need their input, just like they don't seek our input about all the mass shooting and the meth and all the other things that they have going on in their particular community. It is our job to come up with a defense mechanism against that. And that's what we're always going to do. So in closing, remember, we are a great and mighty people. No matter what lineage you come from, if you're on code, there's nothing that you can't do. And my final words to you all on this Sunday, protect the minds of your young Black babies because they're under attack. Without them being protected, we have no future. Enjoy your Sunday. Salute to y'all.
I know y'all ain't finna leave. Y'all actually left. That's all good though. If y'all left, that's all right. I'll leave. Nah, the thing is still open. There's still 93 people in the room. I'm gonna let people come up and say something. But if y'all gonna leave and go enjoy your Sunday, I get that too. We get up out of here. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Woo, family. That was a good stream. Was it not? That was a good stream. Good Twitter space. Good conversation. Good conversation. So yeah, like I mentioned, not only do they have a black female Sentry, Misty Knight just beat Venom. My white suburbs finna lose their mind. I'm finna show you what the female Sentry look like. Let me see. Yeah, we're gonna show you what she looked like. Now, before we get there, we have had female sentries before, but I know that they gonna try to say she not, but here we go. There she is. I hate fandom because they be just weird with they shit. Now she has cerebral palsy, so always got to be some kind of slant. As a Fury, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Mo.
God, you took the words right out my mouth when there had to be some kind of slant. I remember I forgot the Marvel character, female character. I forgot her name, but she actually is like she can't use her legs. She was going on onto these, like the crutches or those
Mm-hmm.
or the leg braces. I forgot her name. I just had it, but she was a black female character.
Mm.
I mean, hell, do you remember back what was it, McDonald's kids? Why the black kid, remember the cartoon, the animated one?
Mm-hmm.
That used to come on. Why the black kid was the one in the wheelchair?
Because that's how they like it.
Malcolm in the Middle, his best friend.
Because that's how they like it. Come on now, you know that.
Exactly. So look here, and the guy that hosted the stream just now brought up Castlevania Nocturne. Now, Annette is black, African Haitian with powers. And they hate that because originally Annette was just a blonde white woman who was the love interest of Richter. She added absolutely nothing to the story, but somebody I guess he procreated with later on in the bloodline of the Belmonts. But in this series, she's so much more, and everybody knows. Oh my God, you know what they're already saying. And I had to explain to him. I was like, genealogy, you dumbass. That's what I had to explain to him. I was like, look at Ronda Rousey, black grandmother. Do Ronda Rousey look white? I mean, black? No, she don't, because her mother is biracial. So she has black grandmother, biracial mother, and then she has a white father. That's how it plays on. So don't worry, PC people. Belmont bloodline is going to be fine. Jesus Christ. I don't believe I had to explain that to somebody.
You have to, bro. These people don't read.
I know they don't read, but they don't do science either. They
Bro,
just
these
go
are the
for
same folk who got happy putting Mentos in Diet Coke.
uh, and pop rocks and soda and all that
Yeah.
good shit.
These are the people that bought the bag of air. Ziploc bags.
Of a celebrity's breath.
Shh. Bruh, these were the same people who invested in oxygen bars.
Good boy. No, for real.
These are the same people still investing in tanning beds.
Yeah, they hate us so much though, but they like that skin feature. Somebody got gonna fry in it. Like what's that from Kick Ass 2, the dude's mother.
Yeah. Look up the episode of Perfect Strangers when both of them went in the tanning bed and they both fell asleep.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I used to love Perfect Strangers when I was a kid. But
That's them.
and yeah, that is. And what else I was saying? Yeah, they made a lot of changes too on Nocturne that um a lot, like they don't complain about it. They didn't complain much about Orox or Drolta because Drolta could be cosplayed. So there wasn't no complaints. It's Annette that's the problem. Because see, Drolta used to be a old witch, haggard witch that was a vampire, and they changed it to a more they changed it to a black character, but she was the villain, so they didn't mind that so much. See, in that it's heroic, and they have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. I mean, like, come on now. Come on. Like, they didn't even give Tiana Paris a chance as Monica Rambeau. She was. If you watch WandaVision, people realize she's a good actress. She's a good character. She ain't going around throwing up the black fist, but she's a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how he mentioned the guy mentioned Jax earlier. Yeah, for sure it was MK11, and he is absolutely right. They're still complaining about that to this day with that
And you know what
dreaded.
we say? We don't give a fuck.
Exactly, with that dreaded W word. I can't believe for the life of me. If you look on my X-Men 97 video that you commented on, there's a Hispanic dude trying to call me a bigot because I told him I don't rocks with the 2010 version of what they consider woke and the 2020 version. I'm going back to what it really stands for with Marcus Garvey related and other things back in the 1920s. I don't want to hear that. And he's like, "You, the words change. Words are part of interpret. Words can be interpreted differently." I'm like, you using what you consider woke ideology to be anti-woke. Make it make sense. What you
Hmm.
talking about?
And of course, you had this dude, my favorite comic book character of all time.
Still,
Yeah, your mama. No, I'm kidding. You know
second
what
point.
sucks? He with a white woman.
Of course,
They
but
just got rid of Amanda quick.
it can't be. It's got Rick got to be with Michonne now. Uh, what's his name?
I'm still crazy that motherfucking show is still on.
No, it's spin-offs now. The main series ended.
I know, but it's the whole concept is still on TV.
Yeah, because they they need AMC. That's they bread and butter. They don't know how to really do anything else now, and it's a rating. Daryl Dixon got his own series. He went to France for God's sakes, France, and you find out that his ancestors, his grandfather who died in World War II, is buried there, and I'm like, oh come on, son. They got to let it. They got to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
But that broke my heart when they killed off both Sasha and Tyree. I understand they went on to the other projects, but come on. Remember when Tyrese got bit and then
Mm-hmm.
he cut it, they had to cut his arm off and he still died. And then with Sasha, because she got the Star Trek gig, I was like, I knew I was like, she gonna die. And I'm like, damn. But they didn't kill Michonne though, because Rick still was out there. And you got to see the ending of the ones who live. It was a good 6-part series, but the ending, he made it back home and he saw his son that he never knew that he left her pregnant with on some Goten shit. When Goku died in Cell Saga, he had already got Chi Chi pregnant with Goten. Same thing. He met his son for the first time. It was like a happy ending. I'm like, this can't be it. Oh well, fuck it. They killed Call for that reason. But I'm gonna just let somebody else speak on it because I can go all day. I don't have the energy to do that. I had to finish off that indica I had, so I'm chilling right now.
Hey, all right.
All right, man. But thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
You're
So It's always got to be a slant, family. We got to watch out for that. It's always a slant somewhere. But the good thing is, X-Men 97, if you've watched it, you know Storm did something, and then, that's it. That's all we're going to say. If you haven't watched it, then I ain't going to say nothing else because I don't want to ruin it for you. Damn. Anyway, family, I'm going to get up out of here and enjoy the rest of the evening. We're going to get ready for that show tomorrow. And there's going to be a live stream in the morning. We're going to talk about Project 2025. We got to talk about that. Oh, Cosmic Fury, come on. They complain about every damn thing. These are the same people who said they're not going to watch the show. And they going to complain. And now they complain about it. This is why I say that Griff is coming to an end. Don't nobody want to hear that crap no more. I ain't gonna watch it. I'm finna watch it. Okay, you want to watch it. You a fan. It's okay. Be a fan. But recap, we did that space and I got kicked out of X for 12 hours. So it is what it is. I put up why on my community post. White people can't take sarcasm. Khalifa, hello. Fuck them. Those pussies about to be done soon. As soon as the election is over, they're done too. Nobody taking their ass serious. None of them pussies come outside and actually have a conversation. They never do it. Because the last time most of y'all probably don't even know this. Last time they went in there and had a debate about comics, they got washed. Like badly. That's why they only do their what they call it, their Mario Kart bullshit. They only do it with the same people. Like they not even getting views like that no more. But it is what it is. Tyrone done after the 5th because they starting to get tired of him too. Like he started talking about the goddamn Transformers 1 trailer. I'm like, okay, it's a prequel. It looks good. I want to see another one before I commit. But it looked good. But it is what it is. So, like I said, he can't recover after that. After what he said about X-Men, he ain't gonna recover. He only got the supremacists in there pumping them up. It's okay. November 5th, it's over. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. Stay safe. I will see y'all in the morning. We're gonna do that show. Let's shoot for 10 o'clock. Maybe 11. You know what? We'll do it at 11. Since Brother Torian taking a week off, we're going to take his slot for a second. We're going to take that. So Brother Torian, don't get mad. We're going to take your slot. So 11 a.m., we're going to talk about Project 2025. So y'all, take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence. You say fuck them.
At the end of the day gotta end.
Hey,